And we're
All
live.
right, we're live. Hey, man.
Hello. Thanks for having me on here this morning, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's early morning for you. What time is it, by the way?
It's 9 a.m. here.
It's 9. Okay, cool. I
Just
mean,
early morning for me.
yeah. Usually, like, your routine is a bit more like night owl.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks you so much for for making it. I'm stoked to have you on the show this week. How should I call you, by the way? Like, parodism, is it? Should I call it by
You
I
can
don't
call me
know.
Parrot.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I think this makes me want to ask the first question. Like, where did you, where did you get your artist name from? Parrot.
Parrot is my last name actually. It's actually French.
Oh,
It's French is Perot.
cool. All right,
Yep.
cool. Nice.
My whole family says Parrot. And people call me Parrot my whole life growing up and stuff, like in high school and stuff. All my friends
Okay,
call me
got
Parrot.
it. So you kept going with it.
I was like,
All right, let's give it easy. People know me as Parrot. Let's do it.
yeah.
Cool, man. So yeah, I'm super curious to hear I mean, on this show we're going to talk a bit about your background, about where you come from, how you came to art, also to digital art, maybe crypto art.
Mhm.
We're going to talk about one or two of your artworks, depending on how much time we have. You're going to share a bit about the process behind your art, what it's about. On my side, like although I'm a digital art rookie. I have like some questions and could definitely like feel some vibes in your art. So I'd be curious to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see how much time we do. Let's aim for 20-30 minutes. Let's see. And guys watching the live stream, stick with us if you want to, guys. If you want to ask questions live, we have the chat available, and I can definitely like intervene and ask questions to Parrot. So yeah, um, yeah. So maybe we could start with the short introductions. Like, how did you come to, I don't know how you prefer to tell the, your path, your career, but yeah, you can go as far as you want, starting
Uh,
from the beginning.
all right. Well, most of my life I've been doing music and making electronic music. Ever since I was like 10 or 11. That's why my main thing was been making music. A few years ago, I needed to basically start making art for myself. To put on my songs on SoundCloud or Spotify. For a while, I
Yeah.
was hiring people to do that. But as a musician, not making much money, I was making more music than money. So
Yeah, yeah, sure,
I
sure.
was
I mean,
like,
how old were you at that time?
I was like 3 years ago, so
Cool. All
21.
right. Cool. I mean,
Um,
the music industry is pretty competitive and hard to, make a living from it
for
from the
sure.
start, right?
Yeah, definitely. More so even than the art world, I think. Uh, so yeah, I needed to make art for my stuff, and I took a Cinema 4D class in high school, like a digital art class in high school. Always kind of artistic growing up, and would always take art classes and stuff. So I had like a little bit of background, a little bit of knowledge, but yeah, so I started doing that and realized it was like this whole creative process that's really similar to writing music, but different, and you're making visual art with it instead. But it's
Hmm.
to tell the same stories and
Hmm.
share the same emotions, but through a different medium. So I started doing that, and because I've been making music so long, I was starting to get a little bit burnt out on music and the music industry and the competition and the rat race and
Yeah.
all that. So like diving into visual art was a breath of fresh air for my creativity, I think. So I just started making a lot of visual art, started getting some clients.
When was that? Like the when did you start with visual art exactly?
2017,
Cool. 3 years.
and
Yeah, 3 years.
yeah, and I've just been doing it pretty much every day since then. I did like a dedicated everyday series, like what people does, but just for 1 year instead of like 13.
Cool.
That definitely helped. I think looking at my stuff from
And
the beginning of that
so,
year.
what did you start with? Did you start with like digital art from the start, or did you start like with drawing, or I mean, yeah.
I've always drawn a little bit. Ever since when I was a kid, I really liked to draw, and I was probably a pretty good drawer for my age when I was a kid.
Hmm.
But I never really pursued it like I did with music. Like with music, I was, continuously trying to get better and improve and play shows. And with art, it just never became that up until a few years ago when I discovered
Yeah.
digital art.
I mean, I've been stalking your profiles for a bit previous to this chat, and I mean, you've not stopped making music like entirely, right? Like, cause
Yeah.
there's this track that you've released like on different platforms a couple
Yep.
months
Yep.
ago, and also
Yeah.
like, do you use music in your artworks as well? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the best way to blend that
Hmm.
because, you know, I, I feel like, being able to write music and combine that with my art isn't something everyone can do or has, the access to. So I'm really looking for like that next level art and music mashup NFT.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we're working on that. I'm trying to
Cool.
figure out like the best way to implement music, and so
Yeah, and um yeah, in terms of music, what are like your style? I couldn't really label it, I had flavors of like, I know, dubstep. I don't want to say something, wrong or misplaced or anything. Like, how would you
I
categorize
don't
that?
know. Probably like glitch hop, dubstep, trip hop, kind of those influences.
Cool.
I grew up making like hip hop beats and stuff, so that's my roots. But as like electronic music got big, I started doing that stuff too.
Cool. Yeah. Sick, man. And yeah, that makes me want to, dive into like previous to diving into your artworks, or maybe we can do that at the same time, depending on what you prefer. But like, how would you categorize, like, how would you label like your art in terms of inspirations? Are there any currents, or um, any vibe, um, anything that you would attach your art to or really heavily inspired from? Like, I don't know, like some pieces I could think like they were kind of like cyberpunkish in a way, but you also have like influence from nature, so biopunk sort of,
Right.
plus like some video games vibes with the landscapes and environments and all these things. So eager to hear about that.
Yeah. I think a lot of my artistic influence probably comes from like sci-fi books and movies that me and
Hmm.
my dad would read and watch together growing up as a kid. Um, my family's not super artistic. I never had like a really formal art education,
Cool.
or at least art history or anything like that. So like I really like Salvador Dali. I have some books of his. I really like Impressionism. That whole era of like no details, all just like
Hmm.
impression from
Yeah.
the mind, and I like a lot of
Cool.
nature scenes from that era. Um, I don't know. I draw artistic inspiration from a lot of places. A lot of times it's movies and like the cinematography and shots, in different sci-fi movies,
Hmm.
fantasy
Okay.
movies.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely feel it. Like, I mean, the sci-fi influences and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe we can dive into it with the first artwork. Um, let's see how what we have here. Um, So the first artwork, it's oh shit, it's the initiation. I think that's the most recent
Yep.
one
Yep. Yep.
you've put on the platform recently. So yeah, tell us about it. So
All right. So let's see. Yep. The initiation. This one is a. It's hard to say exactly what my art's about because I never really like think of putting it into words
yeah,
until I have to.
yeah,
So and like the way I write art or create art too is it's pretty like from the source. I'm not usually thinking of what I'm making beforehand. It's kind of just like I figure it out as I go. Um, this one is lately I've been kind of on a theme of ethereal goddesses like merging with nature.
yeah. I mean, I'm interrupting you for what? Because like it just comes up to my mind. But like a couple of times, like in your artworks, I've seen this same like kind of avatars or characters, and sometimes like so in one of them, and in multiple of them, like there was this like name Nephilim coming back.
hmm
Um, yeah, is that something like? I mean, I had to look it up. I mean, what exactly is that?
So I believe it is Hebrew, and it is in the Bible. I'm not Christian by any means. I'm pretty agnostic, spiritual, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
really influenced by ancient religions and kind of the mysticism and power that they have in the world.
Yeah.
So I like the Bible is really trippy. like
Yeah,
like
definitely.
removed from all its social and cultural impacts and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It's Nephilim is I think a giant and some form of angel in Hebrew.
Cool. Cool. Sick, man. Okay,
Yep.
and so you often use like this human shaped character in your artworks. Um, here, like this woman held by something like nature or something like that. I don't know how we decipher that.
Yeah, I like using human figures because it's something that everyone can instantly relate to. It's
Hmm.
like our brains and our eyes are designed for seeing human shapes and figures. So I feel like that's a really easy access point for people to look at the art and instantly be able to relate somehow to it. And then also kind of playing in that uncanny valley
Mm-hmm.
where the longer you look at it, kind of like the less human and the more alien it becomes. So,
Hmm.
like obscuring the faces, that's something I like doing in a lot of my art. Um, Not because, well, facial expressions, I think, are another thing in art where they can set such a strong emotion for a piece. Someone's facial expression in the piece basically can set the whole entire tone for the piece. So by removing that, it lets more interpretation come in,
Yeah.
and I think it lets more focus on the nature kind of shine.
Yeah.
More
I
more ambiguity maybe.
Yeah, I tend to find like that this like having no face brings I mean at least to me like the emotion is like a kind of depth or mystery or
Mhm,
almost sacred kind of thing
mhm,
that it's being that is not like almost like if emotion free almost like goddess or god or whatever kind of have this feeling like of this big celestial uh, celestial, beings. Um,
mhm.
so I definitely like that part.
Yeah, yeah. So this one, I think the overall theme of this one is kind of this lady, humanoid, is in this like kind of Garden of Eden place where these plant beings are kind of initiating her back into nature, or the next stage of
Mm,
nature.
mm, cool. Yeah. I mean, do you want to, I mean, are you using like always the same tools to produce your art, or um, is
No,
it something you change from one piece to
yeah,
another?
I usually use a few different things. Cinema 4D is my main tool, but
Yep.
I've been trying to learn how to paint digitally, and sometimes we'll see. Yeah, so
Yeah, I
this
mean,
one,
like dances with flowers, kind of like I think more painting style.
yeah, this one is just a painting in Photoshop using this Wacom tablet right here.
Cool. Nice.
Same kind of style. This is one of my first paintings that I felt pretty happy about. Painting is so much harder than 3D for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess depends on your background and
Yeah,
where
I'm
you
you
come
know
from, and
people out there paint and say 3D is way harder than painting too. So like I think it's just whatever you started out with first.
yeah. I mean, I think that's what makes like the singularity and the specificity of each artist, and also like shapes the style and stuff. Like you do with the set of skills that you want. You maybe develop one skill or the other, but in the end, like it's also influencing your styling, the direction that you go. And
Hmm.
I think that's really cool part of the process.
Yeah, pretty much all my favorite art that I look at, that's like I look at and it just blows my mind. Most of it's painted, not that much of it's 3D. A lot
Mm.
of 3D art I look at and can kind of break it down in my head, but painting, like, there's some master painters out there where it just like blows my mind, where I don't have any kind of conception of how someone would paint so good.
Yeah, that's crazy. Sometimes, like, you get in front of like a book or painting in a museum from a great master, and like you totally blown away. And that's actually like pretty recent for me. Like, I've started like more recently. Like, the more I dived into crypto art as well, and art in general. Therefore, like to kind of like build my culture, like to learn to appreciate all these artists, understand like what's the point or the price behind the art and stuff. Like, I've been literally like rediscovering many of these works. um that I think that's sick sometimes.
Yeah, crypto art has definitely exposed me to like so much more of the art community and their influences and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's I think that's a good point. The good segue into crypto art as a thing. Like, crypto art is special. I wouldn't know how to define it because I'm not an artist myself. And one thing I would like to do in future iterations of this show is to bring artists together to chat, so they can for example, like I told you before, like you with Sam J or with another artist, so you guys can also like because I have not been through the path of an artist who has been like from traditional art or creating to crypto art and all stuff. So I don't know everything about the community and the feeling and all these things. Um, yeah, I mean, how has it been for you, like to move to crypto art? Is it a Twitter community? Is it bigger than that? Is it art platforms? What is crypto art for you? Um,
Crypto art for me, I guess from my experience, is the bubble that me and all my colleagues are operating in right now.
yeah.
I think that bubble kind of goes out to a lot of just the pure crypto and kind of finance side of it. There's a lot of people kind of on the fringe of this crypto art world that are just crypto people.
Yep,
And then
definitely.
there's people who are just artists and are kind of hearing about it. And it's like I see like this whirlpool, whirlpool of people, from these two pretty different worlds kind of merging and coming together.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, I've always liked crypto, always thought it was really cool, but it's so like financy. It's like the stock markets in my
Uh-huh.
head, where it's
Yeah.
just like it's so financial that like I'd rather think about art.
Yeah.
And now I can think about both at the same time because of what we're doing. So that's pretty cool.
That's a good reason. I mean, and yeah, I mean, and also like, yeah, that's I think that crypto is great with that's an when that's an enabler to new things like all the things that we can see in crypto art and also monetization and all those things.
hmm Yeah, it's cool. I think we'll see some really novel and exciting. We already have, but even more exciting ideas kind of uh, be birthed from like this coupling of these like innovative crypto people who are so smart and so driven to like change the world, and then
Hmm.
artists who are like also so smart and driven to change the world, but in a completely like creative and loose way compared to like, I don't know, it's like A brain and or A type personality and B type personality. I feel like coming together and just
So
really,
like people outside and inside of like of crypto, that's what you mean?
yeah, just like the crypto people and that whole community mixing with the online community of artists, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, in general, like I feel like like crypto, like this community and what's happening inside it, it's kind of like um I mean, the so like the social trends or like the desire or the will that pushes us is kind of are things that you can really find elsewhere in the in other circles or parts of the world. You can see like the same kinds of people organizing as I don't know communities, the same kinds of people trying to monetize in different ways. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
other groups and stuff. So you can definitely literally see like at a lower level, like this the trend is kind of global or like it's in many different circles at the same time. But like
Mm-hmm.
crypto is like the it's the place where you have the tools. So in some other areas maybe you'll have like more of the philosophical aspects of what it will take to
Right.
create new models and stuff. And in crypto we have like this kind of huge lots of tooling. And so definitely think that merging different things together will um, make cool things happen and actually like finalize the transition to a new to a new system.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's cool seeing that happen in real time and being a part of it.
Yeah. And so you as an artist and also as a super artist, like what what has you think has been a factor of success for, because you've been doing pretty well in the past, as an artist to crypto art in the past
Yeah.
month. Like
Yeah.
what would you say like is the not the toolbox but the recipe.
Um, Definitely a mix of luck for sure, of
For
just
sure, always like.
being in the right place at the right time. I found out about SuperRare in June, which is probably a month or two before kind of like the first big explosion of crypto art. I think maybe in August or September when it really started popping off.
Hmm.
So I got into SuperRare before they got bogged down with like 1,000 applications a week.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely helped. But a lot of like my strategy for branding and networking and all of that, a lot of that stuff was learned from my experience in the music
Oh
industry.
yeah,
And
definitely.
like when I was like 18, I was using Facebook to like contact promoters in different states and like Greyhound like down the coast and go play a show and figure out what friend's house to sleep on, what couch to sleep on that night, and all this like networking and learning how to sell myself in a sense and like self promote without being
Yeah.
too annoying. Like
Yeah. I mean,
I,
yeah, definitely. Go ahead. Sorry.
I learned the hard way in the music industry of like just being like young, naive, and you know trying a lot of stuff. A lot of it didn't work, a lot of it did. But because of that experience, I can take all the stuff that did work and bring it over into the crypto art stuff and apply a lot of those skills and lessons.
Yeah, I can definitely, because like the breadth of like, I don't know, like content or promotion that you put out there, and also like, I don't know, collaborations, or the conversations, or even like videos of yourself talking about events or things or thoughts that you share. For example, like I saw this video on abundance and scarcity, on what thoughts on how you should proceed in digital art, depending on your strategy and,
Hmm.
and all these things. And I definitely, like, there are tons and tons of artists. So like I think I mean, obviously, like the main thing for an artist, I'd say, like, is the quality of the art, the uniqueness and the consistency over the style and stuff. Like, these are things that will help you as an artist, like go make your way. But we cannot, like, the huge importance of being able to skillfully like interact on social media as well, promote yourself, and that's really interesting to hear that all these skills you've been transposing from the music industry. Because like, I feel maybe in music, I'm not sure, I'm not even sure, but like, as music is more like, let's say, mainstream than fine art, and perhaps
Yeah,
like closer to social media in a way, culture or mainstream culture, people perhaps are more used to kind of like traditional hustle of like making stories, pinging people on through cold mailing and all these things. Um, yeah,
yeah. The music industry is definitely more saturated than the crypto art world right now.
yeah. I mean, crypto art. Yeah.
Yeah, and fine art too. I'm sure. I haven't had a ton of experience in the fine art world outside of crypto art, which I guess
Hmm.
crosses that Venn diagram a little bit. Um, yeah, there's just not that much content about crypto art yet. Like, it's hard pressed to find a solid YouTube video that's up to date and kind of going. There's only maybe a few dozen people out there consistently putting out videos or writing articles, or
Yeah.
there's a lot of space for growth. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are will still be able to find their own niche, and there's just so many spaces to fill still. I can see.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, um, like, yeah, what I think, I mean, I think you said it, but like, I want to say, like, what are advice, or what would you say to artists who would like to make a name for themselves in crypto art or whatever. I think you named like several like very good leads or techniques.
Yeah. So, like you said, consistent, good art is always a solid, solid
Yeah,
foundation to like. Yeah, I think the the most true and honest way is just to get so good at art and just work so hard
yeah,
at it that
definitely.
everyone's like, "Whoa, look at this
That's
guy's
the
shit."
ideal.
And like,
Yeah,
but there's a lot of stories of people who make awesome art that their careers never go anywhere, and there's a lot of people who um
make
I don't want to
shitty
say
art.
not awesome art, but just
Yeah,
like not as good as maybe some of those unknown people,
yeah,
and they're able to dominate the market in a different way. Um, and so I think those kind of skills are um, what I like to think about is, so I heard there's only like 150 people that the human brain can keep track of at once, or
yeah. The
something
Dunbar
like that.
number.
So one of my goals is to like constantly be one of those 150 people for
Hmm.
like as many people as possible.
That's very smart.
And so that includes like video creation. I try to post art almost every day on Twitter, some of my old stuff or some new stuff I'm working on. um interacting with the community. I see a lot of people just post their art to whatever platform, make one Twitter post about it, and then like say my job's done. And usually, unless there's exceptions, but most of the time, the art and the sales don't really improve a whole lot over time. And being an active member of the community where you're like interacting with these people, being one of those 150 people by interaction or providing value for other people that goes beyond just art.
Yeah, I definitely like feel that this is a neglected aspect of. I mean, it's all tied to the fact that in the end, like we're human, talking to humans, and most of the time, like an important aspect of collecting and or anything like that is going to be who am I, funding or financing also behind this art. Is it someone that I want to see thriving in the community or
Right.
participating in, or is it someone who just doesn't add anything to it? And maybe so, if you don't add anything to it, and people don't, want to see you like stay for the longer run, you'd better have like very, 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 very good art that no one has.
Yeah.
And yeah, otherwise, I think like being an active member in the community, and I've seen like some artists. Uh, bringing like life to the community, and also like getting more attention by doing that, I guess.
Mhm.
And possibly also like enhancing their art thanks to the connections they make or the things they learn.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put like Ferocious as a really great example of
Hmm.
somebody who has found success because not only do they make like amazing, unique art that's super receptive, but they're also buying art from other people. They're doing videos where I think that was the first time I was introduced to Feywa was one of their videos they posted about selling some art or something like that.
Mm,
And they're constantly supporting other people, active in the community. And
yeah.
I'd put Feywa as like a poster child for like this is what you should do to succeed.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing how like I've seen he launched also like recently a podcast with I think Jonathan Wolf,
Yep. Yep.
and
Exactly.
does all these content and videos, also updates he shares about his work and ups and downs and all these things. So I definitely think he's like the and also like all these collaborations with members of the community and always welcoming and nice and positive. So I definitely think he's a good model to follow in terms of how to build your career in the crypto art community.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah. Before we end the chat, I'm curious to. I probably have a last question, which is, how do you see things evolving for crypto art? Like, where do you see ourselves? Like, where do you see the space in its development? Do you see like at very mature, very early, or do you think we've seen like some significant improvements? Um,
Um.
Sorry for
I,
this question.
Overall, I'm incredibly bullish on the market as a whole. I think, um, in a few years from now, the idea of owning something digital like an NFT is going to be super, super common. And I think, especially now because of Corona and the lockdowns and all
Yeah.
that, everyone just staying inside,
Mm,
I think that's going to accelerate the growth of everything turning digital. As we move more towards that,
sure.
whether it's like come check out my digital art gallery because all the museums are closed or uh,
Yeah, sure.
let's hang out in VR chat or on this video game because we can't travel right now or stuff like that. So I think that's accelerated the digitalization of
Mm,
social experiences a lot in the past year. Um, and as that happens and progresses more, I think the idea of owning something in the digital space will be normalized a lot more than it is right now. A lot of the roadblocks I see with people accepting crypto art is just not understanding what it means to own a digital file that you can't hold or, move around physically and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think like there are so many trends going in that direction, and also like the new generations growing up will embrace that a lot more. Like those like 15 to 20 year olds today, like within the next 5 years, will be like 25 or and would definitely participate because like when I see all these new, I mean, owning digital goods is kind of like really like warming up. All over the place. You can see like these new avatar systems where people can collect goods or wear fashion or whatever. Like some of these look very bad. Some of these I'm more optimistic about,
Yeah,
but the trend is definitely pushing behind.
yeah,
Crypto art. So
yeah, I think so. And I think, there's one thing that like gets pretty much everyone's attention. It's money for the most part. And
yeah,
so, and I think a lot of what has to do with the excitement around the crypto art is people seeing artists make money for like the first time in their lives. And
yeah, definitely.
at least for digital art.
Mm.
And so I think that's a great thing because it's just like lighter fluid for the fire that is NFTs, and the fact that people can get paid, like, you know money's weird, and it's people don't like talking about it that much, but it is a huge motivator, at least in Western culture, for people. People base their whole entire life and what they do every single day based off of money. Sometimes, whether it's a nine
Yeah,
to five or starting your own business or whatnot. So I'm really thankful for all the cryptocurrency that's floating in this space that I think will act as an attractor for a lot of people, whether they're
yeah.
artists, or investors, or what.
Sure. I think like the fact also like especially with digital art specifically like the fact that people couldn't monetize and now they can monetize. Even though like on top of that you have all these like crypto speculation draws attention thing. That also like and there's so yeah there's money in crypto so people make even more money that they would like in traditional markets perhaps.
Hmm.
So there's this but like there's I mean there's both so like I think there's true revolution for digital artists for sure, and and on top of that there's the attraction of crypto which is even adding to that. So
Yeah,
yeah, reasons to for being optimistic about the future. Thank you so much man for joining this call.
for sure.
um, I was happy to have you. Maybe we'll do something in the future again. Maybe next time, like one of these days, it will be you, the host of this show. I don't know. So, um, yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and see you next week for another to be announced Super Spotlight. Thank you, man.
Sweet. Thank you, everybody.